Return of the Mac. Oh my God. You guys hear that noise? Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon from the United States. Welcome back to another episode of Ancient Architects. That was a bad impression, sorry. I didn't warm up first. But trust me, I practice my Ancient Architects voice. Don't you think for a second that I don't. Want to play poker? I would love to play some poker. I always lose money, but I love the game. Bowl cut. Yes, I have a bowl cut now. I cut my hair myself, all right? Relax. This is a new era of my life. Hello. Ooh, there it is. It's going a little bit. Hello. Am I going to shave? Yeah. One day. Anyways, everybody, I hope everyone had a good Christmas. A good, we're already 4 days past Christmas. So I'm late. Oh, you're in Goa. Nice. You know, I'm going to Rishikesh soon. It's been a long time since I've been to Rishikesh, and I'm very excited to return. Everyone goes to Goa, but I feel like Goa is Rishikesh. I like the mountains a little bit more than the beach. Thank you for the donation. Zebion. Return of the Mac. Oh my God. Go to Tibet. Okay. There's a story I've been wanting to tell. I told it on my YouTube channel a long time ago. But I feel like now, because when I did this story, this was all pre Jeffrey Epstein, pre all the crazy stuff that confirmed some of these conspiracy theories were real. But maybe like 8 years ago, a long time ago, I snuck into Bohemian Grove. And some of you may or may not know what Bohemian Grove is. I'll give a little backstory to what it is. But Bohemian Grove is basically this all men's retreat, which is started a long time ago. I think it started in the 1800s or early 1900s, or maybe even a little bit later than that. Let me Google that real quick. But so Bohemian Grove was basically this theater for men, where men would get together and sort of just lose themselves in a fantasy wonderland in the forest in California. Bohemian Grove. Bohemian Grove. It was established in 1878. So year after year, for many, many, many decades, there have been these gatherings of Bohemian Grove. And maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, way before I went in there, Alex Jones went in there and recorded a ceremony they do called the Cremation of Care. The Cremation of Care is basically this strange drama where these druids are speaking with the spirits and they offer a human sacrifice to this giant owl statue. And they burn it. They burn this human effigy in front of this giant owl. and it's real. They really are doing these bizarre ceremonies inside of this campground. And when you walk through the campground, which I did, you find very interesting symbolism. Definitely owls everywhere. There's even obelisk all over the place, like tiny, maybe like 5 feet high obelisk. And on the top, they have owls on the obelisk. In each campground, when you're walking through the actual campsite, which from the outside appears as a normal campsite, you would never think anything weird was going on. But if you start looking at the names of the campgrounds and you start looking at some of the symbolism that's placed upon each of the little sections, there's devils, there's owls, there's spiders, in which is okay. You know, there is this sort of owls that is associated with the woods and spirits and all that kind of stuff, camp stories. It's not like just because you're a rich guy that you're um immune to the stuff that normal people find interesting. We like to go into the forest and tell these kind of stories. But it's interesting when competing politicians are hanging out like nothing, like there's nothing, you know? They go here, they make policy, they hang out, they party together, they drink together, no women allowed. I think it was Nixon who called it the most faggoty thing he's ever seen. Obviously, that's back in the day. You couldn't say that these days, but so, what I think that's pointing at is that they're doing strange sex rituals also, where these guys, all these politicians are in there and they're gang banging each other or having orgies, and they bring in these male prostitutes, and all of this is very well documented, and it's all very interesting to why the leaders of big business, the leaders of our nation, are coming together and they're burning fake effigies of humans to owl statues and having orgies with each other. And in a way, this kind of confirms, because back in the day, I remember people used to say that they're actually sacrificing children there, and this is way before any of like their drinking blood or their Jeffrey Epstein Island. This is way before any of that. So it's very interesting to see all these dots kind of connect a decade, 2 decades later, when you think like, okay, because like when I was growing up, that's such a far out conspiracy theory that all these politicians are doing weird stuff with children and that they are doing these bizarre rituals, but they actually are. They actually, and whether or not they're doing it just for, well, I mean, anything involving a little kid is not just theater. You could argue the Bohemian Grove stuff is theater. Um, But when you see that they're doing these strange rituals, these strange occult symbolisms are found in all of these sort of inner circles of rich people, it starts to like make you wonder like, is it just like eccentric rich people trying to be exotic? Or is there like, are they really hiding it in this in front of us? Um, I personally think there's probably some dark stuff happening. If we only knew what was really going on, we would probably be horrified. Uh, I mean, you think about what they do on the surface. We blow people up and we celebrate it, you know, as long as our political team tells us to celebrate it. So I think there's a lot of darkness on the surface that's very obvious to see, but I think when we get to beneath the surface is when some very interesting and weird stuff starts to connect. But being inside Bohemian Grove, I actually went inside twice. It's weird. It's a weird place. You can feel the sort of strangeness in the air. And I guess if you're in the woods and there's always that kind of that feeling like you're being watched a little bit if you're deep in the forest. But Bohemian Grove has this aura to it as if you are being watched. How did you get in? Well, it's interesting. So there's this little town that you have to go through, and I just cut through someone's backyard. I snuck through someone's backyard, and I followed this trail which led to a fence, and the fence had an opening between the door and the barbed wire. And I had, my jacket. I just took my jacket and wrapped it around the barbed wire so I wouldn't get snagged, and I climbed under it, and, I just started walking. You walk through you're basically on the side of a cliff of a hill, and there's, like, a little river down there, and you walk down the hill, and you follow the river for a little bit, and then you walk up, and then all of a sudden, you realize that you're above the campground, and you're looking down at it, and it just looks like a normal campground. There was no people there. I didn't see anyone there. There was, like, a truck that was driving, so it's like there is people occupying there. I don't know if it's security or, like, the people that just, like, upkeep it while when nothing is happening there, but as far as, like, politicians and all that stuff, there was no one there. Um, if anyone knows what Bohemian Grove is, it's probably one of the craziest things that I can say I've done, sneaking in there, and, I don't ever tell the story for some reason 'cause I got scared, you know? I told the story right after it happened, and then I was like, "Maybe it's not the best for me to," because I took videos and I made a whole video about it, me sneaking in, filming it and everything, and then, like, I started getting scared where I was like, "That was very dumb of me to put that online," you know? Martin, thank you so much for the euros. I appreciate you, Martin Travel. No, the videos are not up. I took it down because I was scared. I didn't wanna get in trouble. You can't really film yourself breaking in somewhere, you know? Especially a place that's got, like, where all these rich people hang out. They can just, like, snap their fingers and make my whole family disappear. That video is worth money. Well, I didn't really there's not really anything going on when there's no people there. So, I mean, I'm sure someone would pay money for it, but, it's kinda just a campground with some owl symbols on it. You love the book? Thank you so much. Anyone that purchased my book, Barefoot Like the Earth, you can purchase it barefootliktheearth.com or go to Amazon and type my name in. Please leave a review. Go leave a review over on Amazon for me. That's like the such, an essential thing you can do to support me is to go leave a positive review on Amazon for my new book. That will, make me very happy and help push me up on the ranks. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Sneak into an Amazon headquarters next. Yeah, see, like, they put you in prison. You can't really mess with those types of people. They don't really play around. They have, like, a lot of power. I would rather go sneak into a cult that would potentially sacrifice me if they found out than ruffle the feathers of, some of those people. Yeah, exactly. Jeff Bezos would eat me. I have this green banana. It looks a little green. I don't think it's ready to be eaten, but I'm starving to the point like I'm getting a headache. And I also think it's like a bad idea to eat any fruit shaped like this on camera, but hello, hello. So, what's up? Give me something interesting to speak about. I don't really have any plans to go back to Arcana or do any ayahuasca stuff. Um, I plan to bring an Agori Baba friend of mine to the Amazon to try ayahuasca. So maybe next year, that'll be when I go there. but that's more of a journey for him than it is for me. I'm just kind of curious. If you could achieve immortality, would you do it? I think we have already achieved immortality. I think it's an interesting question because where do you get your intelligence from? You could argue, well, your parents taught you, you went to school, you had these experiences in life, and through that, you developed a sense of self awareness. And through that self awareness, a intellect is naturally formed because that is a byproduct of being aware. Your awareness creates intelligence because you must have intelligence to navigate through this world. So it's an interesting question. Where does intelligence come from? Because even an amoeba, there's some strange little cell interacts with its environment. It has some form of intelligence, even if it's the most basic. So I believe this intelligence is actually more us than our bodies, our bodies, as Terence McKenna would say. Um, we are immortal. We are the energy that pre-existed our body. We are the energy that currently runs through our body, and we are the energy that will exist when we no longer feel this body. So I think in a way we have already achieved immortality. It's just we identify with the ego, we identify with this temporary experience, so we don't realize it. You don't realize, hey, actually this isn't actually time existing within time itself is an immortal experience. I'm just happening to think I'm a temporary being within this immortality. So it creates an illusion in which I lose myself in. We all lose ourselves in. Excuse me, I have the hiccups for some reason. Opinion on Charles Manson. I actually wrote Charles Manson a letter and he sent me a postcard. I think he's interesting. I think Charles Manson, I don't think he even killed anybody. Well, he may have killed somebody in his life, but as far as the Tate La Bianca murders, he didn't kill anybody. And he has maintained that up until his death. I didn't kill anybody. And you know what he said, which I believe? He said the media needs a boogeyman. They need a way to destroy the hippies. They need a way to destroy this beautiful counterculture that has emerged naturally as a result to the war, as a result to psychedelic exploration, as a result to the disgust and rebellion that is naturally being evoked through the shittiness of the American government. Charles Manson said that these guys need a boogeyman. They need to say that I'm this murderous killer so that they can say the hippies are bad and destroy this whole movement of love. Charles Manson said this. And when I watch these interviews of him saying that, I'm like, it's probably right. He also said, if I would have started killing you, there would be none of you left. So the guy is definitely a psycho a little bit. But I think that the whole Manson family was an MK Ultra psyop, which has kind of almost been proven at this point. That these guys were allowed to commit these crimes intentionally through the CIA working with the police department as a way to inspire this story so that you could you build the criminal to destroy him so that you can be the superhero. It's interesting. Charles Manson was clinically insane, definitely would have killed you if you were in a room with him. I don't think so. I think if I was in a room with Charles Manson, not only would I beat the living shit out of him if he tried to kill me, but that aside, I don't think he would try to kill me. I think you could have a normal conversation with that guy. I think in a lot of ways, he was confronted with a lot of truth as far as, like, being locked in a cell. You because, he would say interesting things like, "You think I'm a prisoner, but actually you're the prisoner." And it's very deep and true in a lot of ways because he's like, "You guys locked me up in here, and here you are with all these stories of me. You created this big image of who you want me to be or who you think I am, and you're a prisoner to your thoughts. I'm in here. This isn't whatever you say I am, I can be that for you because the way you interpret the world is the way that the world shape shifts to your perception, and I can be whatever you want me to be. But the truth is that makes you a prisoner, not me. I'm not a prisoner. You think I'm trapped in these walls, is what Charles Manson said. I'm free. That's like a yogi type of realization. So I think like being locked in a cell for your whole life, having the kind of psychedelic experience Charles Manson had, um, having the kind of lifestyle he had, involved in Hollywood, working with a lot of celebrities, writing music. The guy had an interesting life that it's interesting karma. I don't think that it's as black and white as we want it to be. And I'm not like a serial killer apologist or anything like that. I think it's just like interesting to look at the shades of people instead of saying like that man was evil or this man was good. I think it's interesting to say like to see that even within our own selves, we have all done things that we would hate other people for. We've all been monsters. We all have that capacity within ourselves to do things and react in a way that we wouldn't respect another person reacting for. So I think it's interesting to put yourself in the shoes of Charles Manson. What if he's saying the truth? What if he's saying, "I didn't tell those people to do anything, and they had their own sovereignty, their own free will. They made that choice. I wasn't involved in it. There is no Manson family. I'm not like this leader." What if like the things that he was saying were true? And he's saying like this is just a media frenzy as a way to build this cultural sensation so you guys can destroy and disenfranchise the hippie movement, the rebellion that's happening right now throughout the country. You guys are making me the poster boy so you can inspire fear in all the parents of these rebellious teens and kids that are dropping out of school, taking acid, having spiritual experiences. What if all that was true? What if well, obviously, killing people in such a brutal fucking way is like stabbing their stomach and writing "pig" in blood on their walls. I mean, it's a pretty crazy thing to do. So I'm not saying either side was good. I think it's just interesting to kinda be objective and just look at the world, make a commentary on the world, and this is the problem that we have with the world right now is that you are not allowed to make a commentary or an observation about the way things are. Like, for example of like what I'm talking about, because this Manson family and Charles Manson they did bad things. It's like almost blasphemy to acknowledge also what the CIA might have manipulated it in a way. We're not allowed to make these commentaries. Or let's think of another one. Another commentary, which is very um, controversial and will stir some stuff up in this chat room even, is to say that men and women are different. When I look out into the world and through my experience of being alive for multiple decades, I see that generally men and women are different. Uh, Biologically, we have different chemicals running through our bodies that inspire different reactions to the way that we perceive the world. This biology produces different bodies which function different ways, and there have been this deep thousands and thousands and thousands of years of evolution, which has um, invoked sort of societal roles, which I don't think are necessarily just this invention of our culture that we live in now, but I think this is a natural progression that evolved through just the natural conclusion of humans, the way that we behave. Like, for example, um, the traditional home structure of, like a man and a woman having a child. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be a man and a woman, but it's that these traditional roles within the structure of the family, that there is like a nurturing side and there is a disciplinary side, and that these natural biological energies that a man and a woman holds, and either person can hold that energy ultimately. But I think what I'm trying to say is that there is values in tradition, and I don't think tradition is necessarily a hypnosis of mainstream culture. And I think that mainstream culture wants to say, like, no, actually, this is all just an illusion of culture. Like, men and women are the same, and they should be treated equally. And I do think that all men and women, people of all types, should be treated equally. But I think treating people equally doesn't mean like go let a man fight a woman, or go let a small woman, a group of small women do intense labor. These women do not have the hundreds, thousands of years of evolutionary benefits within their body to do this type of hard labor, whereas men traditionally and evolutionarily have done these hard works, while the women take care of kids, are more social, they attend to the home life, the garden, these more things. These are not like cultural roles. I think these are evolutionary roles that have been inspired through just the natural human behavior. And this is very controversial to say these days, but it's just making a commentary. It's not even necessarily that I believe that this is the way it should be. It's just saying, like, I look into the world and I see that this exists. But we're not allowed to say that anymore for some reason. Like, we're not allowed to say, I believe that a man should take care of a woman in the traditional sense of, like, maybe the woman stays home and raises the family and the man does the hard work. You're not allowed to say that there's value in this structure. And I'm not saying that this is the only way to live. Obviously, we're alive. We're in modern America. There's tons of ways to live. But through this sort of shakiness of trying to figure out new ways to live, we are in like a failing society. Look around. How many of you in here have dads? I don't have a dad. I have a dad, but I don't have a relationship with him. How many of you in here have a strong family bond that is strong because it's actually strong, not because it's dysfunctional? I have a strong family bond because my family is dysfunctional and we bond through our trauma. But how many of us have a strong family unit? We don't, because it has been destroyed in the face of us trying to figure out a new way of life. And that's okay. I think this is normal. We're in a new world, a new era is emerging, and we're trying to figure it out. But I think to say, like, we must throw away tradition and there's no value in tradition, and you are a misogynist if you recognize that there is value in the softness of a woman and the caressness of a woman, that's like when she can take care of a child, or like a hardness of the man or the discipline of a man. There's values in these roles, I believe. And that's not to say there's not values in other roles or other ways, but I think, like, to throw this out completely is a mistake on our end. Let me eat this banana real quick. And this is ironic because for my whole life, I always imagined myself as being like a very progressive liberal. Especially like in high school, I'd be sticking stickers around, cut class, not frogs. I would protest anything. I would sit down for the Pledge of Allegiance. I was like, fuck the old world. Traditions is broken. Look around. Tradition is broken. We're the new generation. But, the older I get, the more kind of conservative I get in a way. The farther out these, like, sort of, I guess you would call it progressive liberals, or like the extreme left, the farther out this stuff goes, the more kind of conservative I become and the more value I see in sort of just like maintaining, like, tradition, I guess. And maybe some of you other people in here feel that too. There's something in me, the older I get, that, like, I have this craving, and I can't explain it, but it's like I have this craving to provide. I don't even have a girlfriend or anything like this, but, like, I see like, I have this motivation in me to provide for a family one day, like, so that, like, what I'm working towards right now is for, like, my future family, and this is just, like, a natural thing occurring within me, and I think, like, the older we get, the more we feel these urges just because it's natural, you know? Like, I would love to just provide for a woman, provide for children, and give them a life in which they can be their best selves so that they can grow and they can be passionate and artistic. And I feel like in a lot of ways, this is the role and duty of a man. What have men done throughout history? Men have always just put their fucking boots on and did the shit you had to do because that's how society functions. You gotta go into the fucking sewers and clean that shit out and fucking clean the gutters, and this has kinda been the role of a man. You have to go hunt, and when you kill that 500-pound elk or whatever, you gotta drag that shit back to the village. So in a lot of ways, I feel like we have to reclaim this kind of masculine power within ourselves of providing, because a lot of the mainstream idea of masculinity, toxic masculinity, but I feel like masculinity is not toxic. Masculinity is what provides. It's what holds. It's like the foundation of society in a lot of ways. And if you look even deeper, the woman is what is the foundation of the man. So there is this beautiful symbiotic relationship, and it's not, of course, binary. Of course, I'm just speaking in my own kind of context. I think when you look into the world, they're all expressions of life. You see all types of animals are gay and stuff like that. So I don't think like I'm not traditional in that sense where I think that kind of stuff is wrong. I think that's totally normal. And if you look into nature, that pattern exists outside the human world. So I'm not even making a comment on that. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, I feel a power within myself to reclaim my masculinity, to reclaim like the masculine roles of my ancestors, of like just doing what I need to do to provide because that's what my duty is in this world. And many people can disagree and say, "Hey, yo, this is the modern world. We don't have to have like this urge to go hunt and pull back the 600-pound elk or whatever. You can just go to the grocery store." But I feel like, yes, convenience is amazing. How blessed are we to have convenience? But I can't be dependent on that. Why can't we all be both feminine and masculine? I think we can, and I think we are. But I'm a man, and men um, are masculine most of the time. Of course, we have feminine qualities. Of course, brotherhood. You think of brotherhood, like that is very nurturing, very loving. I got you. This is a feminine quality. When you think about women, you think of the softness, you think of the nurturing nature. Men have this too. We express it differently, but we have it. So I think all people have both qualities. We have both masculine and feminine, and even beyond that, some unexplainable third type that we all have that transcends it and that, brings consciousness together. But there are masculine women who have similar feelings to what you have. Yeah, of course. Of course there are. I don't think masculine means man, and I don't think feminine means woman or female. I think these are just patterns that emerge, you know, and it's just making a commentary on the patterns that emerge. Of course, there are masculine women, but if you look at the general observation of life, there is a softness that repeatedly and consistently emerges within the woman. and a hardness and roughness that consistently emerges within the man. And this is all throughout the animal kingdom. So men should do yoga. Yeah, if that's your conclusion. Yoga means connection. We should all we should all be focused and connected in whatever that means to us personally. Our sex is a part of how we are programmed to perceive this realm during this journey. Yeah, we all have interesting karmas. You know, we all have a unique experience that we are contracted to have happen to us in this life. And there's no right or wrong way to live. Clearly, the human species is begging for a new expression. And we are kind of in the shaky stage of not really knowing how for it to express itself. But there is something bubbling in the waters, a new world, a new human, a new type of something new is happening. We are in a new era in all forms, you know, technology, socially, politically. There is something happening. We're all experiencing it. Every single person in this room feels it. We all know something is coming. We don't know what, we don't know when, but we know it's there in the distance. We can hear the drums slowly beating, slowly emerging. And maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing, maybe it's both. Who knows what's on the other side of the horizon? But I think as long as we are loving, accepting, and we step into our roles, whatever that means, then hey, you know, then we're doing what we can do. So many UFC fighters are dying recently, or just MMA fighters in general. So many of them are just. I feel like every day there's a new fighter dead on my Instagram feed. What were we talking about? We were just talking about um, making commentaries on masculine and feminine roles that are found in nature, and how it's controversial to make a commentary on these things, and why I think it shouldn't be controversial. It's like there's no reason to be offended by saying an observation of how the world is. It's not saying it shouldn't be another way or that it cannot be another way. But it makes sense. I mean, when you say something that makes someone feel insecure, they're going to get defensive. And right now, many people, especially in the United States, I don't know, it's just like you guys and myself included, I'm also a American, but like it seems like we are so obsessed with victimhood. We live in the most luxurious, opportunistic country on the planet. We don't really have any serious issues as far as like what the other 90% of the world experiences. Where's our next meal going to come? Oh shit, we only live on $3 a day. None of us experience this really. And if you do, it's like you can go beg on the street and someone, you know, make $100 a day very easily in any of these main cities around the United States. There are opportunities there that we have in this country that aren't available in other countries. And what was I talking about? I forgot what I was talking about. Thank you for the donation. Advice for someone who's 27 and is completely lost in life. I feel numb and like I'm living for the people I love. Sorry, it's deep, depressing. Well, first, it's impossible not to be lost in life because how can you be found in a experience such as life? Not a single person alive knows what's happening. We all confidently pretend we do, but there's not a single person that knows what's happening. And I think when you begin to examine this, you can find some kind of peace or clarity that's hiding in that uncertainty of like the lostness. When you can sort of not like resist the lostness and sort of just accept it and say, like, hey, wait a second, I'm a part of something that's fucking crazy. What does that mean for me? Then you can start to play around to this mystery, to what I am now reclaiming as God. You can start to play around with this relationship of God. Ask God, why are you here? Because I believe anytime you feel lost, anytime you feel numb or confused, this is pointing you towards your own awakening. It might not seem like it in the moment because what we think of awakening is like this beautiful hallelujah. We kind of we think of it as this type of moment, right? Of like a beautiful ha. But actually, awakening is what you are experiencing right now. You just don't know it because you're in the haze of it. But this haze guides you towards truth. This haze is actually a light trying to say, no, keep walking, keep walking. It's a little confusing now. It's a little lost right now, but if we keep walking, the sun comes out. The night does not last forever. So you begin to play around with God. You begin to play around with the mystery of your life, and funny things start to bubble to the surface when you do that. When you say, like, am I being put through something? Is there an awakening hiding somewhere in this? Can I find an awakening in this moment? And even if it's all delusion, even if everything you are experiencing as far as all this spiritual stuff is all just brain chemistry and it's all fake, and when you die, that's it, there is no God, even if this is all true, it's real when you experience it. And it will change your life. If you live like it's real, it feels real. And you'll feel the mystery within yourself. You'll feel like, wait a minute, am I like, is this happening for me? Is there messages hiding in this reality that are specifically meant only for me in my awakening? I argue, yes, there is. And this is the nature of spiritual practice. Seeking it out. What does this mean? And I can't tell you how to be spiritual. I can't tell you what it means to have a spiritual practice or which God is real or what this or that is. This is all for you to figure out. Like I said, it's a personal thing. So like my interpretation of it is not going to necessarily match your interpretation of it because we live different lives. God gave me my life in my position because this is what I need to wake me up. This is my path that leads me to awakening. I don't know which even way I'm going, but I know if I keep walking and if I keep taking the next step and I do it with intention, I do it with love, and I do it with the power of knowing that there is divinity in every step, then I know that my life has purpose, and I know that that purpose gives me motivation to do good things in life. It makes me feel like I have value. It makes me feel like I have meaning. It makes me love people. It makes me look at another person. And even if that other person doesn't even recognize their own soul, I can look at some people sometimes when I'm in this kind of mood, and I can look at someone and see their soul. I can look at someone, and no matter if they're a dickhead, if whatever situation they're in, I can just be like, oh my God, man, like this person is just here lost in this life. And their soul, they're completely hazed over. They don't even realize that they are the soul experiencing this temporary experience, like a flower blossoming just for the spring. That's what this person's life is. And here I get to see it. I get to look at this unique expression of life coming on as this sad person that has no idea. And it's so beautiful. And when I look at a person like that and they can see they can see that I see that in them, it makes them see it in themselves, if only for a minute. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to preach. You just have to love someone. Humans are contagious creatures. If you love someone without trying to extract something from them, it does something to people. It puts them in a place of almost like a panic for like, oh my God, what is happening to me right now? It begins to wake them up. We are all mirrors for each other. Ramana Maharshi, Sri Ramana Maharshi Bhagwan. Where is he? I got a picture of him here somewhere. Ramana Maharshi, he would say, this is my spiritual teacher right here. This is my guru. That's a weird word, guru. You know, it's a loaded word that comes with a lot of cringe behind it. But this man right here is my guru. I believe he's fully awakened, and I believe that he has access and sees the world in a pure way. And he would say that the best gift that you can offer the world is your own self-realization. Because if you're angry in this world, the people around you are going to get angry. They're going to feel that. They're not going to want to be around you. If you're sad, you make people sad. You fucking are a drag to their energy. If you're that person that's got that crazy laugh, that laughs at everything and is always happy, people love to be around you. Oh, there's got to be at least one person in here that's got that crazy laugh. And everyone's like, oh my God, I love your laugh. I don't even know what you need to be laughing about. It brightens my mood. The greatest gift you can offer the world is your own self-realization. You can be that person with that crazy laugh, but through your own realization, through seeking who you are. And you can bring people to that seekingness within themselves because they can see it within you and they want it. It's contagious. It's a vibration. When the wave of the ocean hits you, there's no not feeling it. The vibration is there. When you see some man yelling at his wife or something, that instantly you get hit and smacked by that tidal wave of angry and emotion, and you feel it in your soul. Oh fuck! Oh, I don't even know what they're arguing about, but I'm sucked into their radiance. Well, your spiritual self is the same. You suck people into that. Yep. Oh shit! Did you hear that? Yeah, my neck hurts so bad today. I must have slept on it wrong. Sounds like you need to stretch. Does that help? I do need to stretch more. I know I do. Thank you for reminding me. I need to integrate a stretch into my routine. I do it in like sporadically. You know, like I'll feel inspiration one day and then the next day I just don't even remember. What's your opinion on psychedelics after all your experiences? Do you think they're necessarily for awakening? Um I think the psychedelic is the most direct way to awaken somebody in a culture that doesn't have necessarily a relationship to something beyond themselves. We are a consumeristic culture. So the way that we perceive the world is through this sort of consumeristic lens. You know, our social status is based on sort of the cars we drive, the job we have, the outward expression. But the psychedelic will put you so deep inside of yourself that it makes any outward expression seem futile or almost not even worth really taking so serious in the way that we take serious, because there's something bigger going on. And the psychedelic can show pretty much anybody that really quickly. It can show you that your ideas of reality are not really fucking solid. You know, that shit can be the rug. The psychedelic can pull the rug right out from underneath you and have you thinking you have no clue about this world that you live in. Now, it is not necessary for awakening, but you know, a consumeristic culture, obviously, The spirit is going to come in the form of a product in which you can consume. Where in the East, you have cultures that don't necessarily revolve on this consuming so much. So their path to this awakening was inside. It was the long way. It's the sort of it's the slow way up the mountain, opposed to like the cart that just the electric cart that shoots you from the bottom to the top, which is what we take here in the US. And that's not even to say shamanic cultures. I think as an American, I can never fully understand what it means to be a shaman or what it means to be a shamanic culture, because these people have a different relationship with the plants than I could ever understand. To be raised in the forest and to have these ideas and to know the plants and all that stuff. I don't. This is not how I was raised, so I cannot speak from that perspective. But I can speak from an American consumer that had these experiences and that can say like this is very powerful. And no matter who you are, if it's done with intention and done with this with a proper structure, you can have a very life changing experience that will blow your socks off and will give you a genuine awakening. You do this for 1 month, this shamanic practice, this shamanic retreat for a month of doing ayahuasca or mushrooms and really having a real guide that can like help you. Not like this new age bullshit, but a real guide that's like going to it'll probably even take more than a month, really, if you were dead serious about it. But if you had a guide, there's no way you would not have a truly religious awakening that would change your life. The plants will do that. I'm so confident that it would work for anybody in the right conditions, unless you had like, some kind of disorder or something that where the chemicals just react negatively when you ingest them, like the DMT or something like this. But if you're a normal person, the average person out in life, whether your name is Bob the plumber or you're Missy the yoga instructor or I don't know, fucking Alfonso the Italian, it works. The ayahuasca, the DMT, the mushrooms, they work, especially with context, but not necessary. Actually, the only way those work properly is if you have the methods to get there without them. Having these yoga methods, these meditation methods are the only thing that's going to help you actually navigate that experience and integrate it in a beneficial way. If you don't have both worlds of the meditation yoga world and the plant visionary shamanic world, if you're not blending those together, you're making a big mistake and losing a lot of integration. Thank you so much for the donation. Where did it go? Patrick, thank you so much for making content. I love you. I love you also. Do you have any tips for taking ayahuasca? I'm here in the Peruvian Amazon and I'm having my first ceremony this weekend. Yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy the first one because everyone talks about how bad ayahuasca is, and then you take the first drink and you're like, really? That's what everyone's talking about? But it gets worse, my friend. Each drink, it gets harder and harder to drink. I recommend you drink it and you fight the urge to lay down. You sit up straight. You allow the energy of your body to flow from your tip of your head to your spine. And you breathe. You focus on your breath. Any intense experience, you breathe it out. You feel overwhelmed, you breathe it out. You feel like you have to scream, you breathe it out. Any negative thought, breathe it out. Any thought at all, breathe it out. Spend your breathing, and you will be transcended to very crazy places. And don't worry about other people. If people start being loud or disruptive, send them love, but try not to let it disrupt you. Try to be in your own bubble. Your first ceremony is hard to connect sometimes, but by your third ceremony, you should be connecting pretty deeply. Allow yourself to puke. If you want to puke, do not make yourself puke. But if you feel the urge to puke, puke. Don't hold it in. The purge is very important. You need to puke. This is a part of the experience. And then once you puke, why fight the urge to lay down? The shamans, particularly Shipibo shamans, well, look, when I was working with the shamans, they would often make me sit up because if I'm laying in the ground, if I'm in the fetal position, I'm not in a strong energy flow. I'm not in a strong position to help people, to help myself. Sometimes there's no choice. You just have to lay down and be in the fetal position and allow your soul to just be taken out of your body. But there's power in being a monk in those moments and not allowing the impulses to overtake you, not allowing these urges to just pull you and pull you here, pull you there. Sometimes this is necessary. Sometimes this is just the medicine working. I mean, you can know in the moment what's right, but there's a lot of power in being able to sustain yourself through the hardships of the experience and just being focused. Breathing, sitting up straight. Because when you're laying and you're like, oh fuck, then the spirits are able to consume you easily, more easy. Lying down, you might choke to death on your own vomit. No, you ain't gonna choke to death on your own vomit. You're very aware. Don't worry about that. It grows. Your hair grows back. Look, I'm not my hair. Okay, I'm gonna shave my head. My birthday is in June, and I'm shaving my head just because all of you talk to me like I'm my hair. So I'm getting rid of all of it. I'm sick of you objectifying me into my sexy ass hair. I'm more than that. I'm more than beautiful hair, luscious, flowy, shining in the sun hair. I'm going to be bald soon. You'll see it. Don't worry. Please don't. I'm doing it. Look deeper than my looks. Listen to what I'm saying. Do it now on stream. No, I'm going to enjoy it for the winter. I had to shave my hair after growing it for 6 years and had issues. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just give up on caring about my hair. It felt like it was I felt like it was a part of me, you know? And I don't want to have that kind of attachment, like such a silly attachment. It's just my hair, you know? Shave your eyebrows too? I will. Fuck it, I'll shave my whole body. What inspires me to write poetry? Well, who can say? Sometimes words just want to be alive for the sake of whoever needs to hear them. Will I follow you on Instagram if you buy my book? Yeah, sure. Send me a screenshot of you buying my book and I'll follow you on Instagram all day. You can go to barefootliktheearth.com and buy my book. I don't have it next to me, or else I would read some pages. Unfortunately, can't read none of it to you right now. But yeah, please buy it. Please support your boy. We've been like between 30 and 70 in the poetry section. We keep bouncing up and down. I don't think we'll hit number 1 or even maybe top 10, but we're doing good. We've been in top 100 for poetry books since the release. So that is badass for me. A very, very cool experience to see, like, wow, I couldn't have done that without you guys helping get it there. What's my favorite poem from the book? This is a tough one. Probably one that's called "A Little Piece of You." It's very Hallmark and very like, I don't know. It just seems like it's like a very traditional poem, and it means a lot to me. Let me see if I can recite it from memory. It's about my grandma, and I had this vision of me releasing my grandmother's ashes, and she actually didn't even get cremated; she was buried. But I had this vision of me releasing my grandmother's ashes into a river in the woods behind her house. There is no river back there. Sometimes it gets flooded, and there's like small ponds and creeks. But I had like this idea that I was like stepping into this pond surrounded by trees, and I was dumping her ashes in the water, and they were like surrounding me. And each step I took, the further away she got. Each step in the water I took, it pushed her out. And it was just like that was it, like she was going. I couldn't hold it anymore. So I wrote this poem. I actually posted it on Instagram so I can read it right here. But it's called A Little Piece of You. And it goes, I put your ashes in the river near the woods out by our house. And every step into the water pushed you further out. And now you're in the atmosphere somewhere way up high. And you'll fall back down to earth and visit from time to time. You'll say hello through flowers or from raindrops on the lawn. You'll sing songs through the wind to let me know that you're not gone. I'll find you in the forest and on mountaintops too, because everywhere I look, there's a little piece of you. I like that one. It's very simple, very like, it just feels like a kind of normal poem, like that you would read in a Hallmark thing or something. But that one is meaningful to me because it was a vision I had about my grandma after she died, and just had to write it. And my grandma, she used to make this joke about like she would say, "Oh, one day I'm going to travel with you and we're going to go climb a mountaintop and hang out with one of those old wise men." Like she had this idea like in India that there's just like these wise men sitting silently waiting for people to give them like spiritual realization on mountaintops. And she would always make this joke like, "We're going to go one day. I know like that wise man's up there waiting for us." So that the parts where I say like that I find you on mountaintops too, there was this pilgrimage I made after she died where I went to Ramana Maharshi's, where his ashram is and where he would meditate. And I climbed up there and I put a picture of my grandma there because that is the most wise man I could think of. I was talking about him earlier in this. And I did this whole pilgrimage. I traveled to the bottom of India. I carried this picture of my grandmother with me and I set it there next to this statue of Shiva and Ganesh. Cried a little bit and prayed and, told her I loved her. And here we are. Arunachala. Okay, you guys, it's time for lunch. It is 3 o'clock here in where I'm at, and I haven't eaten yet. The only thing I eaten was this banana. Anyways, love you guys. Thanks for chilling with me. I leave for India in 3 days. No, I leave for India in 3 days, and I'm not ready. I'm so unprepared, but I am excited to see you, India. I love you, and I will do a live stream every day until I leave. Scout's honor. So I will see you guys either tonight or same time tomorrow. Yeah? Okay. Shanti. Peace.